time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
And it's good to have you with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. A lot to do over the next 60 minutes, as there is each and every day. As I said, lot to do, and that means Ryan Ballengee is going to stop by from Golf News Net. Yes, we're talking about golf on January 8th. They had the Tomorrow's Golf League, the Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy inspired indoor golf simulator league that took off on Tuesday night. We'll talk about that with him, get his thoughts, a couple other golf things as well. Our weekly spot with Kurt Helin, pro basketball talk at NBCSports.com. He will come and hang out with us as well. Some NFL talk to get to in this show. And to finish the show, I'm going to make myself vulnerable to the audience for a moment. You'll have to see what that is coming up a little later on. Sam Yarnell is off on Wednesdays, and that means, look at this guy. Who's this? It's Vladimir Lewis hanging out with us. My old buddy from my days at NBC Sports Radio. He's going to be hanging out with us on Wednesdays going forward, or until he gets tired of doing it. So Vlad is hanging out on the show with us today from WQAM in Miami, which will have some value when we talk to Kurt Helin about the whole Jimmy Butler situation going on down there. All right, Vlad, the Las Vegas Raiders made news on Tuesday. They fire Antonio Pierce. Black Monday extending into Tuesday, and who knows, there still may be more coaches yet to be canned. But in this case, Antonio Pierce given his walking papers. It's funny, the day before, everything was like, business as usual. Antonio Pierce feels safe, and now Antonio Pierce finds himself on the unemployment line.
Well, you gotta respect the NFL, Paige. One job, one brother gets fired 5 minutes after his last day on the job, and another brother gets, you know what? Instead of doing Black Monday, let's do Black Tuesday. You know what I mean? So far, so much for the Rooney Rule.
Yeah.
So much for the Rooney Rule, because it seems to me the coaches that have shown a history losing records or shown a history of not getting their team to improve, they got passed. They got saved, Brian Daboll, Joe Shine, saved. Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel, saved. Antonio Pierce, loved him. The fan base loved him. He was trying to change. Did he really play with a good hand? You go into the season with Gardner Minshew as your starter. Are you really going into the season with a chance to win? No. And this is what the Raiders did.
And then you trade away your best receiver in Devontae Adams, who's obviously disgruntled as well.
And Max Crosby, your best player, he's just getting sick and tired of the losing. And you have a history of doing that with some of your great players. Look like how you treated Derek Carr. It's weird. It's weird what's going to happen and what the name we're going to be hearing, because all of a sudden, after a couple of years of being out of the NFL radar, he's being seen more. He's being showcased more, whether he's doing Barstool or other
Talking about John
stuff.
Gruden.
I am speaking of John Gruden, because John Gruden, you could tell you what those NFL lifers, they want to get back. And it seems to me him and the Raiders have this weird relationship.
Symbiotic, they feed off of each other. They really do.
Yeah, they really do. So don't be surprised when you hear his name mentioned a lot. But I feel bad for Antonio Pierce. He's a diehard Raider fan, a diehard Raider guy, and it was his dream job to be the Raiders head coach, and he wasn't really given a fair hand.
Let me say this, though. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, fools rush in. Remember, he was the interim head coach last season. And he had, they had that nice little run towards the end of the year, and they beat the Chiefs, and there was all the talk, and we got Mahomes' number. And then, Mark Davis became enamored, as, impulsive owners are wont to do. And Mark Davis became enamored, and all of a sudden the narrative was, Antonio Pierce is ready to be a head coach. Maybe the reality is he just wasn't. And look, I get the talent disparity. I totally understand, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, whoever else you want to throw into the mix there, is not the greatest quarterback room in the NFL. But at the same time, maybe there are some that would argue maybe his time isn't now to be a head coach, and maybe he will get another. It's not as if there aren't black coaches that haven't gotten second opportunities in the league. Raheem Morris. mean, there are some guys who get another shot. I think at some point he'll get another opportunity. Maybe.
I'm not saying he wouldn't.
Yeah.
I just don't think he would. I just don't think he was given a fair chance in his first opportunity. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't given a fair hand. Like that, you want to have a hand. We play poker. You want to have a hand where you can throw some money in the pot.
Yeah, I get it.
He didn't have a hand.
No, he didn't have a hand to play with. Yeah.
Nah, he had a 2-7 offsuit from the jump. You know what I'm saying?
Gerard,
So,
and look, and the Gerard Mayo situation, and we talked about it on the show earlier this week. I've never been more convinced that he was just a placeholder until Mike Vrabel was available. They can say all they want that he was the coach in waiting when Belichick was going to be fired on. That as soon as Mike Vrabel was available last year, not available, but fired, it was just a matter of time before Mike Vrabel would be the head coach of the Patriots, which I think he will be.
Right. It was just, I guess maybe they didn't want the people getting involved where you might have to go, there was some type of infiltration or, any of that where you might have to give up picks, just go around. They just went roundabout way to get to
they circumvented that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there is conversation surrounding John Gruden and the possibility, it might be the Raiders, but that he might actually get another coaching gig. And when you take that in concert with what we were just talking about, black coaches being fired and not given an opportunity, and we're going to welcome back this guy. And it's like, man, it wasn't the body's not even cold yet from the stuff he did when he was in Washington. And now we're talking about John Gruden coming back into the league, and my head wants to explode.
Well, your head is going to explode because listen, 2025 is the resurgence of people who were being shut down. Resurgence. Yeah. And you know what? They're going to remember everything that was said about them, and they're going to reinforce it on those that were criticizing them. Like, they're going to take it back on them. No, because think about it. Belichick's got a $1 million out in North Carolina. That's one of the cheapest outs in college football history.
Yeah, it is.
Okay? You and I we're not rich. But I'm just saying, like, if we really wanted Belichick to coach a team of ours, $1 million, we can do that. John Gruden was person non grata for a minute. The things that were said in the email, you would think that would be it. Nah. John Gruden's back making the rounds.
It should be disqualifying. It blows my mind. It should be disqualifying. I don't know how you could expect a guy to lead a group of men with the things that he has said and done, but there's as they always say, there's an ass for every seat. And NFL coaching is the same way. We're coming back with Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. What's going on with Jimmy Butler in Miami? And this Wednesday edition of SportsWrap continues. We shift gears from the NFL to the NBA. Why not? Let's talk some hoops. Spend a couple of segments like we do every Wednesday on the show with our friend Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Vladimir Louisant hanging out with us now on Wednesdays, so he joins the Vlad Louisant has joined the chat. So Vlad, you're a Miami guy. So let's start with the obvious, which is everything that's going on in Miami. With the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler. Yeah. Let's go. Let's talk about Jimmy Butler. Last Wednesday or Thursday or whenever we talked to you last week, I was all excited. Let's talk about Jimmy Butler. And you basically came on and said, nothing's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And then literally like 24 hours later, the you-know-what hits the fan. The team suspends him for 7 games. You've got Jimmy coming out and saying he wants to be traded. Doesn't have any love. $49 million apparently isn't enough reason to love what you do. So where do we go from here? The Players Union files a grievance. How long is it going to take for a deal to get done? Give me some thoughts.
This is the epitome of nasty work.
Come on, Kurt. What do you got?
This is the epitome of nasty work, Jason, because of the fact that this is something they knew from the season, from before the season began. Remember that press conference Riley did after the Celtics series, after the first round elimination of the Celtics? And he was talking, Jimmy had made comments that if he was there... You're
not on the court, shut up, is basically what Pat Riley said.
There you go, he hit it.
Yeah.
So that happened. Second thing that also happened, everybody else was getting paid on the team except for Jimmy.
Yeah.
Bam got an extension. Other players were getting extension. Jimmy wanted to get paid. Jimmy did not want to go into this final year in this Miami Heat deal without a contract extension or something. And that's what he said. He was going to come in and be, the great teammate, follow all the rules and everything like that. Yeah, first day of camp, he was late.
Kurt,
he was late.
But listen, Kurt, he's getting paid and I'll say this to Vlad too, he's getting paid $49 million, Kurt.
It's not even that. It's the next contract that this whole situation backs up on. It is all about the money. It is not about his love of the game. It is all about the dollars and cents, man. And Pat Riley didn't want to pay. Look, he didn't just want a contract. He wanted more than $100 million or to opt out and opt back into a year. But he wanted at least an extended year at over $50 million, and nobody outside of Matt Ishbia and his fever dreams in Phoenix wants to pay Jimmy Butler that much money. And that's where it stands right now. He could get an extension with the Heat or another team or go to another team and sign a deal right now, but he is going to take a pay cut at age 35 with his injury history. So I'm not totally down on Pat Riley. I don't think Pat Riley has handled this smoothly in the league.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. And I know Vlad had been saying this off air. There's a long history of this, right? Dude, he
does this.
Walked out the door. The guy's got a statue out front, and they let Dwayne Wade walk out the door over money. So he's not backing down.
He does this all the time. Like if you go from Zoe to Jimmy,
yeah.
like every super, not even before that, Glenn Rice.
Yeah,
get Zoe. He did that. So both parties are at fault. My problem is this: Jimmy has a playing next season for 52.
Yeah,
but he wants a little bit more, right? So if you still want Jimmy, come at a compromise. Maybe 54, maybe 55, 2 years. But if you don't want Jimmy, trade him before the season starts so you can get some valuable assets. Now you're in a situation right now where the whole league knows you're stuck, you're compromised, and they're not going to give you the best deal that you want.
Kurt, can't we? Kurt, can't we just say? From this standpoint, I can understand what Riley's saying. Broken down Jimmy Butler at 35 or 36, this is not playoff Jimmy years. He's not worth that much.
He is not in what he can bring to your team right now, and that's why Vlad is spot on. The second Pat Riley said after last season what he said when he went during that press conference and basically threw Jimmy under the bus, you knew this moment was coming. You knew that Jimmy Butler was going to go full Minnesota at some point and just make this miserable. And you had to trade him then or be ready to ride this out because I'll tell you what I keep hearing, which is they're now looking at 3 and 4 team deals and all this stuff. I keep hearing there may not be a deal out there. There may not be a functional trade out there, and they're stuck with each other for right now. Or
they just pay him to stay home?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It might happen, Jason. It might happen. They might have to pay him to stay home.
Yeah, I mean, it's that bad a situation.
Love to be an owner writing that check.
I don't see Mickey Harrison or Pat Riley, but and I'm glad you brought this up, Kurt. It seems to me, over the last 2 seasons, I don't know if there was a secret meeting that Mickey Harrison and Pat Riley were not involved in, but the league do not want to help the Miami Heat anymore.
No.
The league does not want to help benefit the Miami Heat. So what happened with Portland and the whole Dame deal? Because it was the first time in a long time that a superstar let you know what team they were going to be traded for, and that superstar was not traded to that team. So the whole Cronin, Riley, Dame situation didn't work out for the Heat last year, and this situation also is not going to work out for the Heat. The league is not trying to help the Miami Heat win anymore. Or
the Lakers, they used to be like the Lakers, where they'd kind of be able to find deals. And you're like, how did they just do that? Where did they get this guy? And the league is PR conscious more than they used to be, man. And it's not just like, hey, I'll do it if it's a really good deal for me. If this makes sense, like a lot of the 3-team deals right now, they're trying to get Bradley Beal to Detroit. You know how many first-round picks you better pile upon me to get Detroit to take Bradley Beal on? Like, I don't know that there's enough in the league. Like, I need all 30 next year before I'm considering this. It's like, that's where it is with the Heat. You're going to have a blown-away deal because the PR of helping Miami out or helping the Lakers out or helping the Knicks out, certain teams, it just looks bad and it becomes. That's why nobody wants to deal with Danny Ainge anymore. Like, I don't want to lose a battle to him and then lose the PR battle.
Your guess then, if I make you look into your crystal ball, trade deadline comes and goes, and he's still with the Heat.
I would say that if you made me put money on an option, that would be it. As much as they want to trade him, now Jimmy's out saying, well, I don't want to go to Memphis. Memphis probably wasn't in the mix that strongly anyway, but if he's trying to pick his destination and it's got to be, Phoenix or Houston or one of his spots, then no. I think my best guess is, I don't know that I'd bet it over the field, but my best guess is he stays.
Wow. Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. All right, that was only one of two segments. He's coming back. We've glued him to the chair. We're going to get some more thoughts of them on the NBA as we continue. Wednesday Sports Wrap. This Wednesday edition of Sports Wrap continues. Coming up in 10 minutes, Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net. I always say Golf News Next. Golf News Net. We'll get his thoughts on the TGL, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy inspired indoor golf simulation league. Talk to him about that. I was disappointed in it. I made an appointment viewing, much to the chagrin of Kurt Helin, who's hanging out with us. Vladimir Lewis is hanging out with us on this Wednesday edition of the show as well. Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Instead of watching Celtics Nuggets, I was watching this golf thing, which was an hour and a half of my life I'm not getting back, Kurt. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No Jokic in that game. Nothing unpredictable there.
And every time Russell Westbrook touched the ball, though, it was a turnover. It's like, boom, turnover, boom, turnover.
Oh, Russell Westbrook is a roller coaster, man. He is an absolute roller coaster at this point in his career.
He really, late in that game, it felt like in the last 4 minutes of that game, every time the ball got in his hand, turnover. I could just see Mike Malone on the sideline, like losing a year off his life for each turnover that Russell Westbrook committed in that game. So what's going on with Bradley Beal?
Well, they've sent him to the bench, which, look, if you were remember, he's got a no-trade clause.
Yes.
If you were trying to trade someone and you wanted them to waive their no-trade clause, you would want to make them unhappy by doing something like, I don't know, sending them to the bench. Like, that is probably what is going on here. But honestly, it's not a bad basketball move for them, although they've lost since then. Ryan Dunn gives them, the rookie, frankly, is shooting threes at a rate nobody saw coming because he was a bricklayer in college. And absolutely, like, it was like, oh, he can defend it. Maybe we can teach him. No, he came in like, where'd that shot come from? He gives them some two-way athleticism and bounce that they just didn't have. And Plumlee's been better than Nurkic. So they're just trying to shake things up there in Phoenix, but ultimately, Beal's just hard to trade for the same reason Jimmy's a little hard to trade, which is it's the next contract. He's still owed over $100 million, Beal, with 2 guaranteed years beyond this, and nobody really wants to take that on.
And also, to add to that, Kurt, remember, Miami tried to get Beal before the last couple of seasons, and he didn't want to let go of his no trade clause. So the Heat don't really want Bradley Beal. So this whole Phoenix, Jimmy Butler, Miami, the Heat don't want Bradley Beal. Not many teams do. Not many, like you said, not many teams want that contract.
Matt Ishbia and the Suns were the only team willing to take that no trade contract, and shockingly, that's where he is at. And now they're stuck with him because nobody's going to take that on.
Let's talk about some MVP stuff that I want to get to coming up here in a couple of seconds. But first, got to talk about my friends at Credit Associates. What a game last night. Did you see that Trae Young? If you didn't see it, we're going to show it to you in just a minute. The Trae Young half-court game winner for the Hawks, and they get a win in Utah against the Jazz. Trae Young doing it all in a big spot from start to finish. And just like Trae Young, hitting game-winning buzzer beaters, if your credit card debt has been stopping you from winning, blocking your financial freedom, it's time to break through. Credit Associates can help you slam down your debt for up to half of what you owe. They call it halfuary. That's the kind of move you want to see in your financial game. Don't wait another quarter. Call 1-800-747-5362 today. See how much you can save. Credit Associates. When it's time to make a play, they've got your back. To see if you qualify for debt relief, call 1-800-747-5362 or just visit creditassociates.com or just click the QR code right below me there. MVP. I know everybody's going to say it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Look at Vlad. He's saying, yeah. Jokic is in the running. Can I interest you in a little Victor Wembanyama if they have a big second half? Because he is putting up insane numbers. And I mean, in his age 21 season, just turned 21 years old. I just want to make sure, even if he doesn't win, I wanted to get it on the record. What he's doing for that franchise that was just dead in the water before he got there is amazing.
Well, I don't know that he's MVP. Like, I don't know that I'd put him there because I think, look, it's Shai and Jokic to me on a tier, and I've got to make a pick by next week for a story, and I'm going to have to pull out my lucky quarter and flip it because I think right now they're pretty even. And then you get into Jason Tatum and Jalen Brunson and some other guys down the list.
Wemby's fifth right now.
I'll put this, but I'll say this. I think Wemby might be first team All-NBA. Like, he might be that good this year.
And defensive player of the year as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he's coming around on offense. He just put up 55 back-to-back nights against Jokic. 55 points, 40 boards. Like 6 or 8 blocks, whatever it was across the two nights.
The crossover 3 that he hit? Yeah. Oh, my God. By the way, he's fifth right now in MVP voting, and he's a huge long shot. Don't get me wrong. He's 100 to 1. But he's fifth right now in MVP odds.
I also, doesn't it feel a little like, I don't know, Neo in the Matrix early on where he's still trying to figure out how to use the Matrix before I still feel like there's so many levels where he's just like at some point going to go, oh, this is how I do it. And really start to destroy the league.
No, he's not going to he's not going to utilize his full potential until probably year 5.
Yeah.
But everything else is going to be like, oh my God, when he gets it's basically that's what we're saying. Oh my God, when he gets it.
Yeah.
He's like the create a player option on a video game, and this is what you would create.
He's definitely NBA 2K create a player. Yeah. Like he's absolutely, and then you take all the sliders, every sliders that you can do to give him maximum potential. That's what it is. You want him high?
Real quick, the Trae Young game winner last night that we just referenced when we were talking about Credit Associates. The Trae Young game winner last night. And I got to say, look, I've given him a lot of heat over the years, over the last couple of years anyway, in terms of, how I feel like he sort of dragged down that franchise. I think he's redeemed himself a bit this year, Kurt.
I think he has taken a step forward as a playmaker. And look, he's always racked up assists, but it's always kind of been Trae. Oh, here's some assists. He as a guy bringing along young players and setting them up, and they've got them. Jalen Johnson is going to be... Look, I'll tell you what, Jalen Johnson, 2028 Team USA. I'm telling you now, he's that good. Dyson Daniels is locking guys down, and you can go down the list. And now they're really Trae's game is matured, and the Hawks are a lot of fun. They're not a great defensive team night in and night out. It's a little inconsistent. They could use better than Clint Capella in the middle, but I don't
want to face them in the first round.
No, I got to go, Kurt. I got to go, but real quick. Cleveland and Oklahoma City, 2 best records in the league. We didn't even talk about it. Who wins tonight?
I'll take Oklahoma City. I'll always take D over O, baby.
Vlad, who do you like?
Cleveland.
All right.
This is where Donovan Mitchell makes his MVP race.
Vlad's going Cleveland.
There you go.
Ryan Ballengee coming up next. Talk some golf. Don't go anywhere. SportsWrap continues on this Wednesday. Let's talk some golf. It snuck up on me, I'm not going to lie. Tomorrow's Golf League, TGL, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, their baby, their golf extravaganza that they had on ESPN last night. Now, I'm going to tell you, Ryan Ballengee is hanging out with us from Golf News Net. And Ryan, I'm a golf guy. I talk about it probably more than any nationally syndicated show does or even should. And no, really, I mean, with everything going on, there are people that are going to watch this segment and say, I can't believe he's talking about golf on January 8th. I made last night appointment viewing. I got done with the Consumer Electronics show here. I said, I got to get home by 6 o'clock Pacific. I want to see this thing. I was pumped for this. I had bought in. I watched it last night. I don't get it. It just felt like to me, Ryan, it felt like a driving range session indoors, guys joking around. I like cutthroat. I want intensity. And this was just, we're hitting balls into a screen and it goes here and it goes there. And we're putting on this hydraulic green and it's great. I didn't get it. The other part of it that bothered me, and then I'll just let you go. The other part of it that bothered me was, you have night one of this event. You want to get people jazzed up. Give me Tiger or Rory, please. Don't give me Minwoo Lee. Don't give me these guys. Or don't give me, Ludwig Oberg, who's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But that's not getting people to the television. I don't know. I want to know what you think.
I had a good time.
You did.
I think I had a low bar coming into it, right? Like, you didn't know what to expect. I was worried that it would be a production disaster, that it would go poorly. It didn't go poorly. They did a good job with the production. I thought that was very well done. You could tweak some things. The commentary probably needs some work. Less DJ Khaled. I'd like to get rid of the intermission. I don't think that was necessary. But there were a lot of cool things that I did like. The shot clock kept the things moving. And after the fact, the team that won, the Bay Golf Club team, said the one thing that they would carry over from TGL to PGA Tour Golf and said it in unison is the shot clock, which
Yes.
I have been hammering for years. So maybe this can lead to that outcome, no matter what happens. I like the alternate shot component of it. The banter between the players in that piece of it was the best part of it. Singles part, I could take or leave.
Well, it was pretty
And
brief
I think
in terms of the
technology
singles.
stuff could be really cool.
Yeah.
They got to lean into it a little bit more, though. I feel like they just kind of let it sort of try to speak for itself in this first time out. And we didn't really get a lot of data from the full swing simulators, the launch monitors. We didn't get enough of that, I don't think. I don't think we got enough prep about how the holes work or how they're played. And they didn't really lean into the rotating green on the lifts too much. I mean, every time you turned away from it, they changed it, and then you went back to it, and it was different.
Yeah,
somehow.
they should have actually shown it changing. That would have been
Yes.
kind of cool.
I would have loved to see how it worked in real time. I would love to see how it's different than it was 45 seconds ago when we last saw it. That type of stuff. It also didn't help that the match was a blowout. The New York Golf Club team did not play especially well, but they had some cool shots, so that's nice. I think in a closer match, the banter will be better. I think the in-person experience, from what I heard from folks who were there yesterday, needs a little work, and it'll get better pretty quickly. That they couldn't hear what the players were saying on the mics.
Yeah, that too.
And so they don't know what's being said. They don't know what's going on. So it's kind of hard to get involved in something if you have no idea what the people on TV are even hearing.
Yeah.
So once they fix that, I think that's going to help too.
Because honestly, I watched the fan. It looked like a bunch of people just sitting on their hands. Like, I didn't hear a lot of buzz in that arena, so to speak. It felt like there was so much potential when you looked at it before the event ever happened. You look at this empty arena and this golf stage and everything, and then it just felt, I don't know, it just felt like it came up short to me. Hopefully with Tiger competing next week. And I get the idea of putting him in week 2 because in week 1, you're going to get the initial tune in just to check it out. And then they stick around for week 2 because Tiger's in it. And maybe that'll give it some more buzz. And maybe they do sort of tweak some things between week 1 and week 2.
Yeah, I think some of the things about the production will change. They'll dial it in a little bit better. You're not going to make it perfect. Like, you're not going to figure out how to put a tracer on the golf ball as it goes into the screen. That's something that I heard a few people talk about. You can play with a yellow ball. Maybe that helps a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they'll try to figure something out to that end. But I think that the bulk of it worked as it was supposed to work. But some of the finer points of it can be made a little bit better and made better somewhat quickly so that by the time we get to week 3, week 4 of this, it feels a little bit different, a little bit more dialed in.
And obviously ESPN is invested in it. So if there is a way to improve the production quality, they will, excuse me, obviously. But real quick before I let you go, I got a minute. Hideki Matsuyama wins at the Century. And the number is insanely low. What is it, 35 under, something like that? It was some ridiculous number. Every year after the Travelers Championship, I hear people say, they need to get rid of that event. It's too easy. The course is too easy. And then I watch this guy go shoot 35 under. What's the reaction around the golf world to what he did?
I think there's two camps of people. People who care that they tore up a par 73 resort golf course with almost no wind on it, and they think about the scorecard number. And then there are people who really study golf and care about golf at kind of that granular level, statistical level. They go, well, it's a par 68.6. So that's what the real score is. That's what these pros shoot on it every round, every year. So if you want to know what real par is versus what the par you and I would try to play it at, that's the difference.
Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net. Always appreciate it, my friend. All the best. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
We're coming back. All right, in 10 minutes, it's odds and ends. Number one falls in college basketball. And I will make myself vulnerable to the audience. Something that happened out here in Las Vegas yesterday that's made me come to a scary realization about myself. We'll get into that in odds and ends. Vladimir Lewis is hanging out with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. He's going to be with us now on Wednesdays when Sam is off. And Vlad, time for something to consider on the show. Something we do every day on the program. We get to talk about something and make us ponder it. Why, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, consider this. Why, if you are Jerry Jones, would you say, no, even though you're a coach that's done with us essentially, but maybe the ink hasn't, expired on the contract or whatever. No, Mike McCarthy, you can't talk to the Chicago Bears. Why would they do that?
Well, hold on. When is this contract over?
This is it. I thought this was the last year of his contract.
Yeah. So how you going to tell me I can't talk to nobody?
Maybe it's not officially done until a certain date.
Well, Jerry Jones mean. People are mean. People are mean. How you going to tell him, Mike McCarthy, he can't talk to Chicago just for you to fire him in 5 days?
And then the Bears will go get a coach. Then they'll fire Mike McCarthy. So the game of musical chairs will end. The music will stop. Mike McCarthy won't have a chair, and then they'll fire him.
But it's wrong because the DJ decided, no, I didn't want no. That's not the song I want you to dance to. No, you go sit in the corner. Then I'll play the song for you to dance to. No, you can't do that, Jerry. That's nasty work. Unless you're done with Mike McCarthy, unless you're not done with him, then talk to other teams.
Well, there is a very fair question to ask. When you look at the coaching pool and who's out there and who's available, who are you getting if you're the Cowboys that's better than Mike McCarthy? Ben Johnson? Is Ben Johnson taking that job? Is Aaron Glenn taking that job? If Marcus Williams wins a national title with Notre Dame,
Freeman?
Can you
Marcus
Marcus Freeman?
Freeman?
Do you get him to come? I don't know. I think Marcus Freeman could wind up in the NFL if the right opening is out there and he wins a national championship with Notre Dame. I would not be stunned at all if he wound up in the NFL.
And that's good that you bring this point because I think that's a situation that's going down here in Miami with Coach McDaniel. Quickly, as you heard during their last end of the year interviews, you started hearing how players were coming in too late and he wasn't really handling the situation very well. I think more so now in the NFL, you need guys who can lead men. Not teach men, but lead men. And there's certain guys you don't feel like they can lead men, or lead these players. Marcus Freeman is one of those guys that looks like he can lead men. So he's definitely going to get a lot of opportunities, a lot of phone calls. Mike McCarthy, on the other hand, he's a great coach. He has a Super Bowl ring. So with that ring, you have ring protection. He did a good job with everything that went on this year for the Dallas Cowboys and the circus that is the Dallas Cowboys. make a great argument he had a really good season. Considering his franchise quarterback got hurt, they still were able to win 7 games. And they didn't have a great amount of talent.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So do you run it back?
I don't care. I don't think it matters who they run it back with as long as Jerry's the owner of that team and still operating as GM. Nothing's going to change. It's
not going to change either.
No. Nothing's going to change. I want to talk about Travis Kelce and some interesting comments he made regarding the Chiefs basically rolling over and dying against the Broncos. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I got to ask you a question. Who do you think is going to be the MVP in the NFL this year? If you look at the odds right now, Josh Allen leads the way, minus 470. Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley have been in the conversation, but it feels like Josh Allen's award to win at this point of the season. Well, what if you could be the MVP of your finances? With Credit Associates, you can. They'll help you settle your credit card debt for up to half of what you owe. It's like scoring a game-winning touchdown for your wallet. It's Halfuary right now. Cut your debt for up to half of what you owe. Take the first step towards financial glory. Call 1-800-747-5362 today. Credit Associates, because every MVP needs a winning team. To see if you qualify for debt relief, call 1-800-747-5362 or visit creditassociates.com or just click the QR code below. Travis Kelce says, No, we weren't mailing it in. We weren't trying to keep the Bengals out of the postseason. Largely, I believe him. They did want to rest some guys, but it is an added bonus that they were able to keep Cincinnati out of the postseason, who I don't think anybody would have wanted to play, Vlad.
Nobody wanted to play Cincinnati. Kansas City was like thinking, "Oh, let's keep Cincinnati out." Because guess what? In order for them to play Cincinnati, it would have to be like the divisional round. So Cincinnati would have to win a wild card game in order to just even get a chance as Kansas City. So I don't think they were afraid of them. I'm not upset with both Philadelphia and Kansas City resting their starters in week 7 and week 18.
Win your games. Don't lose a zillion games by 3 points, Cincinnati.
It's not even that. Like for Philadelphia, everybody upset with the Saquon not going for the record. Their bye week was week 5. They had the first bye week of the year.
I wrote about that for MSNBC. I wrote a column on that. Yes.
12 in a row. And Kansas City, well, guess what? We all know when he sprains his ankle, that's just like an extra elixir of power for him. But you don't want Patrick Mahomes and all these guys who play 5 consecutive years of nearly the last game of the season. They can get the rest. So I don't think Kelce was lying about that they didn't want to face Cincinnati. But you're right that nobody wants to go against Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, that offense.
Nope. Burrow had an MVP caliber season. We were just talking about MVP. Had an MVP caliber season. All right. Say again. Who?
He's the Wembanyama.
Yes.
He's the Wembanyama of the NFL.
All right, we're coming back. Odds and Ends wraps it up next. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. Tomorrow's show, Diana Rossini drops by from The Athletic. Scoop City podcast as well. Get her thoughts on a number of items around the league. It's going to happen with Mike McCarthy. We were just talking about him in the last segment. John Gruden, all of that stuff. We'll get to it coming up with her on tomorrow's show. Looking forward to that. Before we get to Odds and Ends, a reminder, make sure to check out the podcast available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Amazon, you name it, we are on all of them. Also, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page Substack, which we will be building out for 2025. Without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some Odds and Ends. Odds and Ends, Vladimir Lewisant. Boy, the end of that undefeated run for Tennessee. Number 1 in the nation, not for long. They lose to Florida last night. Pretty convincing fashion, too.
SEC got some good teams out there, Paige. Expect a lot of SEC teams to make the tournament, get a lot of high seeds. Florida just lost to Kentucky this past weekend and just whooped Tennessee's ass. So, yeah, SEC might be better in basketball than football this season.
It might actually. Somebody texted something to me the other day about the SEC football, and they were like, "Boy, amazing! As soon as paying players became legal, the SEC wasn't very good, was it?"
That's funny.
It's funny but true, right? Funny but true. Jeremiah Love looks like he's on pace to play for Notre Dame. Not enormously surprised, unless they had to wheel him out there. He was probably going to play in this game against a Penn State team that is confident. I still like Penn State in this game, Vlad.
Like Notre Dame.
I love Notre Dame. I'm a big Notre Dame fan, but I
told you this. It's just working out. They can run the ball. They can stop the run. I don't trust Drew Allard as a quarterback.
Drew Allard, yeah.
And Riley Leonard. I mean, he gets the plays. He keeps those chains going forward. I like Notre Dame, and they got a swag about them right now.
So let me get you on the record. Notre Dame minus 1.5. You like Notre Dame?
I like Notre Dame and
Ohio State.
I like the under in the total.
And how about Ohio State, Texas with Ohio State minus 5.5? Oh, you're not as sold on that one. You wouldn't put your rent check on it, is what you're saying.
Let me ask you this, Paige. Can you really put your rent check on Howard? Trust Howard?
I trust Ohio State right now.
You trust Ohio State, but can you trust Howard?
It's fair.
Quarterback.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
That's my only thing. And personally think they're going to do anything they can to make sure an SEC team is in the college football final. So I see Texas. You know what? I'm texting Texas plus the point.
Right.
Do take the over in the game. Take the over in the total.
Texas plus. Vlad says Texas plus 5.5. All right. Before we go, I rarely open myself up in this way on the show, but I have to bring this up a little bit. So the CES is here in Las Vegas, Consumer Electronics Show, largest show of its kind really anywhere in the world. And it's an incredible event. Tons of star power. You walk around the casinos here on the Strip, and there are just big names walking around all over the place. So yesterday I'm having dinner with our lovely salesperson for Decibel 88. And we're dining out, and sitting next to us at the table is a man named Gary Vaynerchuk, which if anybody knows anything about VaynerMedia, he's a huge investor in sports stuff. He's a big sports fan, totally self-made entrepreneur, famous. People are walking over, taking pictures with him, all this. And my salesperson kind of ran into him coming out of the bathroom. She goes, "Why don't you go up, introduce yourself?" And I came to the conclusion yesterday that I don't know what the phobia is or what it's called or what the scientific term for it is. I have a fear of walking up and introducing myself to people that are famous. And I don't know why, Vlad. See now, and people like in your profession, you've done a lot of producing, you have to go talk to people, you got to schmooze, you got to cold call people. Guests.
You were afraid to say hi to 50. I had to go and
50 Cent. Yes, you absolutely. I am mortified to walk up to people, and I don't know what the cure is for this. As I get older, I think it's getting worse. Like, I couldn't walk up to Gary Vee yesterday. Who knows? I could have got him to write me a check for $1 million for the company. I was terrified.
You have Napoleon complex. You feel like if you go introduce the person gives you like a "who are you" or type of thing, it would crush your confidence that you've summoned up. Yes, but I feel like if you made the name, you made your name, Paige. You know, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be doing these incredible things if you hadn't made a name for yourself. But maybe not known to certain individuals like Gary and stuff like that. But maybe if your name was a little bit known, or you felt like your name was known, you would have a little bit more confidence to go and introduce yourself to Gary or people of his ilk. I just think because you're afraid that it's like, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I am absolutely terrified that somebody's going to look at me and be like, who's this Yahoo?
Nobody wants to feel like, disrespected or they're less of. But you also got to figure that the person's also a human being. He might be a nice, respectable individual that would be like, "Hey, Jason Page, how you doing? This is Gary. This is Gary V. Nice meeting you. What are you doing here? What brings you to CES?" And then boom, conversation happens. He might write you a check. Donezo. And all because you were just afraid to just introduce yourself.
I feel like I need therapy. I really do. Like, I feel like I needed to go see a therapist or something.
No, man up, man. Take a swig of something. Just man up and be like, "Hey, my name is Gary. My name is Jason Page. Gary, nice meeting you." That's all. That's all you need.
We're out of time. I got to go. Vladimir Lewis on. WQAM in Miami, hanging out with us Wednesdays on the show. Thank you, Kurt Helin. Thank you, Ryan Ballengee. Thanks to you for watching. I will be back here on Thursday. Diana Rossini on the show then. We'll see you.